Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching this from. My name still remains Ike Namba. In this episode, I want us to compare Sweden and UK for those of us that are thinking of making a big move, maybe relocating from your country to another country, and you are trying to find out which one is better for you, if Sweden or UK. Like many might have already known, UK is not just one country. UK is made up of about 4 countries. These are England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. However, since many people concentrate more on England when japaing, as we used to call it back home, I will try in this episode to narrow down our discussion on UK to mean England in this particular video. So when I say UK here, I am simply referring to England. So I can use both interchangeably. So I can say UK or England. So, but you have to know that in reality, UK does not mean England. England is simply one of the countries that made up UK. So having said this, I have to, make it known that the main aim of this video is not to say that Sweden is better than UK or that UK is better than Sweden. So the aim is to compare them side by side so that at the end of everything, you can effortlessly make your choice if you have been considering both countries. So everyone, has what they look out for when they want to japa. So for some people, it can be one thing. For others, it can be another. So when we, at the end of this video, then you can pick out what are important to you and then use them to make your decisions. So just like I did in the previous video when we compared Sweden to US, I will also want to start with language. So because this is really very important to some people, like I mentioned before. So in terms of language, UK is similar to US in the sense that both countries are English speaking. So of course I have mentioned in the first episode that Sweden speaks Swedish as their official language, and I also mentioned that even though this is the case, Sweden also speaks English very well. I also mentioned that at least 9 in every 10 Swedes speak English very well and also understand English very well. So, but then that doesn't mean that that's their major language, and for you to integrate fully to the system, like I mentioned in the first episode, you have to learn Swedish. It is really very, very important. So there are a lot of things you might not be able to achieve in Sweden if you don't know the language. So remember that money is not everything. You can be working, making your money, but there are things you cannot achieve if you are not good in Swedish. So it's like that will be like an obstacle for you. So, but if you think that learning a new language is not something that you worry about, so like you are eager to learn a new language, then maybe you can consider Sweden. Sweden is really a very great country, besides the fact that we from the English-speaking countries, we have to learn a new language. So, but for those from non-English speaking countries, of course, it's easier for them because even if they decide to go to either US or UK, they will still have to learn the language anyway. So that is it. So the second thing I have to talk about, as we did previously in the first episode, is the bureaucracy. So what's the bureaucracy like in Sweden and in UK? So when I say UK here, remember I mean England, you get. So we all know that UK, and then which England is part of, or let's say Britain, which England is part of, left EU a while ago. I think that should be about a year or 2 years ago. So that they left EU in what was called the Brexit. So when they were in EU, there is something common or similar amongst the whole EU member states. So there are EU laws and there are individual states law. So for example, Sweden is a member of EU. So even though they have their own laws, their own local laws, they still have to follow the EU laws. Okay. So, and England was once one of the EU member states. So this simply means that these EU laws also affected them then. And even though they have left EU, some of those laws are still as they used to be. So they haven't changed them a lot. So this simply means that they might be similar in terms of bureaucracy. So, but recently, when they left EU, they tried changing this a bit, trying to be, faster in some certain decision-making processes. But still, it can still take you as a new immigrant a lot of time and months to, do some basic things like registering yourself to your local, or what is called the municipality, like registering your address and also opening a bank account. So just like in Sweden, for you to get a bank account in UK can take you several months. Okay, so this is one of the things you need to look out for. So I will say that in terms of bureaucracy, even though Sweden might, have a tighter and stricter bureaucracy compared to England at this moment, but still, they still have a high bureaucracy there in England. So let us quickly move on to the next point, which is the social welfare. So when we say social welfare, in the previous episode, I used a different term for it, like Ubuntu or Jante. So I'm still trying to say the same thing. So UK or England in this our context, and Sweden have a kind of similar social welfare program. But I will say that Sweden is more generous compared to UK when it comes to social welfare. So there are more things to enjoy in Sweden compared to what you can enjoy in UK. But believe me, they have a lot in common. Child benefits, parental leave, blah, 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 all those things. They are here in Sweden, they are there in England. Trust me on that. So they are similar in this aspect also, because, they were once part of the same EU. So, but Sweden is more generous, like I mentioned before. So what now differentiates Sweden and the UK in this aspect is the level of generosity. So, yeah. Then let us also quickly move to healthcare and education. These are two most important things to look out for when you want to consider your JAPA project. So when you want to make a decision of the country to go to, so you have to, even if you are single, but you hope to get married one day, you have to consider the education of your kids. You have to consider your own health care and also that of your family. So that's the reason why I will always consider these two in my comparisons of Sweden to other countries. So because I believe that these are also part of important metrics that can be used to judge a country. So in terms of healthcare, UK and Sweden are pretty the same. So in UK or England, in this our context, they have what they call NHS. So the National Health Service or whatever. So whereby the main purpose is to ensure healthcare for all, regardless of hierarchy, regardless of social status, regardless of how wealthy you are. So they want to see that everyone will have access to quality healthcare. So that is possible in UK, just like it is here in Sweden. So, and I must also say that UK has a lot of quality hospitals, So even though Sweden also has a great healthcare system, but in my opinion, if I should compare UK to Sweden, I will give it to UK in terms of healthcare, So this is not to say that Swedish healthcare is bad. No, it is not. So in fact, some of the things you have to do here, you will also need to do in UK. So, but I think UK ranks higher than Sweden in this aspect. So, talking about the education, even though England per se has free education for their citizens, but this is limited. It stops at secondary level. From the university level, you have to pay tuition fees. The only difference is that it is highly subsidized for the citizens as compared to international students. So the citizens pay lower than international students, but it is not entirely free. So, but in Sweden, it is entirely free. And not just that it is entirely free, you also get, some kind of monthly allowances as a student if you are a citizen or a permanent resident in Sweden. So every month you are entitled to these allowances. And then, for your feeding, because even though you don't pay tuition fees, of course, you have to take care of your accommodation yourself and also your feeding yourself. So, and the allowances they pay cannot cover all this. So, but then there is what they call CSN. So this CSN is like a loan program. So where you can apply and get a loan to fund your accommodation and feeding. So, and once you graduate and get a job, you can start paying off this loan. So, but you don't have to worry about paying tuition fees. So I will give it to Sweden in this regards. So also when you talk about the standard of education, so, the system of education in UK is different from that of Sweden. And I can say that UK system of education is somewhat related to the system of education in Nigeria. And I think this could be because, we were once their colony. So it's not surprising that we might be running the same system of education. So, but when you talk about the world rankings, some schools in Sweden also made it to the top in terms of university world rankings. So, but I think UK has more universities, that made it up to the world university rankings compared to Sweden. So I will say that they have more universities that are world class compared to Sweden. Yeah. So, but then I think Sweden is also a very small country. Yeah. So this is it for the healthcare and the education. So let us quickly move on to work-life balance. So yeah, like I said, most of the things Sweden and England will, fight it off because they will be similar in the sense that they were once both EU member states, but I think Sweden still beats UK. Let me not say hands down, but to an extent in terms of work-life balance. So, averagely in a year in UK, one can work for about 1,524 hours per year, according to OECD, a research carried out by OECD in 2023. So, but in Sweden, it is only 1,437 per year on average. So, which means that if you are working in Sweden, you will have more time, you will have more work-life balance as compared to someone working in UK. So that is just that. And this extra time or free time will help you to, it will give you more time to stay with your family, to stay with your friends, have fun and all that. And in Sweden, there is a law that, made it impossible for you to work overtime excessively. So the law states that you cannot exceed about 200 hours of overtime in a year. So for those that likes to work overtime without resting, because Sweden, considers also your health is not all about work, but you have to have time for yourself. They believe that health is wealth. Okay, so you have to work and also have time for yourself in Sweden compared to UK. Okay, let us move to the next one, the cost of living. So before I discuss this one, I will have to place this question. If you are to be asked between UK and Sweden, which of them do you think would have a better or a lower cost of living compared to the other? England or Sweden? Of course, your guess is as good as mine. It is Sweden, of course. So the cost of living in UK is higher compared to that of Sweden. So even though when you consider the salary structure in UK, even though you earn in pounds, but if you should change it to Swedish krona, you will realize that the salary structure is almost same as people working in Sweden here. So you earn almost same amount in a year, but then you spend more than someone living here. You will see that in the end, someone living in Sweden might have more savings every month compared to you living in UK. So I hope you are thinking what I am thinking. Good. So, you know, if we are to take some examples, the cost of renting a one-bedroom apartment in the suburbs of UK can get you a comfortable two-bedroom in some bigger cities in Sweden. So, and in UK, for example, you know, you have to pay for electricity, still pay for gas, you get. But in Sweden here, we don't have that system. We don't have gas system here in Sweden. Every home makes use of electricity. So we cook using electric stoves, electric cookers, and so on and so forth. So when we pay electricity bill, we are also paying for our cooking. So we don't need to pay again for gas or what have you. So that is something you should also think about. Then quality of life. Of course, just like I mentioned, Sweden, I mentioned in the last episode that Sweden is number one in the recent ranking in terms of quality of life worldwide. So that simply tells you that they are over UK in terms of quality of life. And then, just like US, UK couldn't also make it to the top 10. So in the top 10 list, UK is still nowhere to be found in terms of quality of life. So, which simply means that someone living in Sweden might live a better life compared to someone living in the UK. And it is true. So you might argue, but that's just the fact. You get, that's just the point. So because UK and Sweden are quite similar in terms of too many metrics, there are things that some metrics I wouldn't want to talk about. So I eliminated them completely. So because they will almost be the same, you get. So UK and Sweden are similar in many aspects. So in fact, it will be more difficult, when you consider UK and Sweden, it will be more difficult to arrive at a decision compared to when you consider UK and Sweden and US. You get, it is easier to arrive at a decision when you consider Sweden and US compared to when you consider Sweden and UK. So, but for us Nigerians, I think where UK will win our hearts any day is the language aspect, and also considering that they have a lot in common with Sweden. So, but with the recent happenings in UK, the laws, the new laws and all that, it is becoming even more difficult, to be in UK. So, in fact, there are even those already in UK, most of them are no longer comfortable staying in UK. There are some of them that are willing to relocate back to Nigeria. But maybe because the home is also no longer homing, that's why they are still there. And some other people that still manage to have something, the finance would just relocate from there to other countries. I personally know some that moved from UK to Sweden here. I know some that relocated from UK to US and so on and so forth. So as it stands now, I don't think UK is a better choice as it stands now. But they used to be. So thank you for your time. I hope this will help you in your decision making. See you again in the next episode. Have a nice day. Bye.